Hey everybody, how's it going out there? Welcome to the channel. My name's AJ. Hope you're having a good day out there so far. And today I'm excited to be reacting to Dua Lipa. A little bit about me. Pre-pandemic, I was really into group fitness. I used to do these exercise classes. And the funny thing about that was that the music in these exercise classes, it was always just this really upbeat, up-tempo, EDM and pop music, which, growing up as a kid in the family car, my mom would play R&B and pop, back in the 90s. We'd get Eurodance, techno, that kind of stuff. So, I had a good education in that growing up. But as an adult, I definitely strayed away from pop music. And yeah, I had not listened to any pop really for the last, 15, 20 years. So yeah, it wasn't until about 5 or 6 years ago when I got into these workout classes that I started hearing a lot of pop music because that's just what got played in these classes. And a lot of it stuck with me over the years. It got me into music that I think I wouldn't have given a chance otherwise. But yeah, one of the go-to playlist songs during these workouts in late 2019 and early 2020 was definitely Dua Lipa's song, Don't Start Now. And that song was just every workout. I don't think a workout went by where that song didn't play. And yeah, it's super catchy, super fun, really gets you moving, just has good energy to it. And in a lot of ways, really throwback to a lot of that 90s pop music that I listened to because it has sort of a Eurodance disco type of feel to it. And so yeah, that was very familiar to me. It's very nostalgic and no pun intended given the name of this album. So yeah, I was with that song from the jump. I did not need to be convinced to like that song. But yeah, the only thing is I don't think I really knew who sung the song at the time. I didn't even know the title. These songs are just playing while you're working out. I'm not stopping and having time to, Shazam or Siri to figure out what the song is. It wasn't even until a couple of months later that I actually learned her name when she was a guest on one of my favorite all-time YouTube shows, which is Hot Ones, the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. Yeah, she did great on that. It was so unfazed by the hot wings. Every time I see somebody eat the bomb, it looks like the worst experience they've ever had in their life. So the fact that she just kind of just shrugged it off like nothing, pretty impressive. So yeah, this album's been on my radar, or at least, the song Don't Start Now had been on my radar since December 2019. So yeah, I was going to react to this at some point anyway. But the cool thing is that they recently re-released this album with an expanded track list, new cover art. They call it the Moonlight Edition. Came out earlier this year. So yeah, that just seemed like the perfect opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and react to that one, the Moonlight Edition. So yeah, Don't Start Now is the only song that I've ever listened to from Dua Lipa. I don't know how indicative it is of her sound overall or of this album, but I'm really excited to find out. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's jump into it. This is going to be my reaction to Dua Lipa with her album Future Nostalgia, the Moonlight Edition from 2021. Let's go. All right, Future Nostalgia, opening with the title track, Future Nostalgia.
You want a timeless song, I wanna change the game. Like modern architecture, John Lautner coming your way. I know you love future nostalgia is the name. I know you're done trying to figure me out.
Definitely a little bit of Daft Punk in this. Although the opening few seconds, it was like alternating between Daft Punk and She Blinded Me with Science.
I know you ain't used to a female alpha.
I'm a fan of a really bassy synthesizer, so whenever I hear that, hits the spot.
I know you're done trying to figure me
Yeah, there's such a mix of influences on this track already. Yeah, like some of these drum machines sound out of the New Jack Swing era. But then you got some 80s synthesizers in there, and then just that Daft Punk new disco feel to it as well.
You can't get with this if you ain't built for this. You can't get with this if you ain't built for this.
Yeah, even some of this now is just like a little bit of Meters-esque funk in some of the ways that was building up.
On the tip of your tongue, keep running your mouth. You want the
I guess we're just in that point in music history where it's just like, I don't know if we're necessarily waiting for a new genre to emerge, but we're at a point where it's like all the previous genres are just fair game because everybody grew up listening to all of it at this point. So you just get these really just crazy sort of elaborate pastiche songs that take genres from every decade and somehow make it work. Yeah, that was solid. That's a good start to an album.
if you don't wanna see me.
Here it is.
Did a full 180, crazy.
Do you know how many like burpees and jumping jacks and push-ups I've done with this song?
Change me, baby. I'm all good already, so moved on. It's scary. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now. Aren't you the guy who tried to hurt me with the word goodbye? Though it took some time to survive you, I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe.
This is just such a brilliant song. Like, it's just so, like, this song just hits with so much more impact if you grew up in the 90s listening to Eurodance. I'm thinking like La Bouche, Hadaway, Corona, I mean even Ace of Base to an extent. Like, yeah, this is just so nostalgic. Yeah, I gotta just stop and take a second to appreciate. I'm thinking songs like Rhythm of the Night, Show Me Love. They took elements of disco, but also what was going on in electronica and techno at the time, and just made these really just catchy as hell, danceable pop songs. Yeah, that music is just, I don't know like what the current like cultural consensus is on that music. You know, I feel like it doesn't really get talked about that much maybe. You know, like I definitely feel like there was a point in time where that music was sort of a punchline. But you know what? I'm always gonna love that music unironically. That's a real wet synthesizer.
Hit me harder than I ever expected. We've been up all goddamn night, all night, all night.
I really like how just expressive and vulnerable Dua Lipa's voice is. There's like a lot of character to her voice.
Got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning up for you. In control of what I do, and I love the way you move.
I like this beat. Real minimal, but just hits hard.
I guess we're ready for the summer.
Yeah, one thing I like about the pop music of this era, meaning like the last, 4 or 5 years, is how much it's been influenced by the EDM of the early 2010s.
When it's only me and you, you got me losing all my cool. In control of what I do, yeah, my love makes you brand new.
Yeah, her voice is just so full and rich, and like I said, expressive as well. Just very compelling to listen to.
When it's only me and you, when it's only me and you.
Okay.
Common love isn't for us. We created something phenomenal.
This has like a little 80s new wave to it. That drum beat.
You got me feeling diamond rich. Nothing on this planet compares to it. Don't you agree?
It's very Bond villain. Don't you agree, Mr. Bond?
Who needs to go to sleep when I got you next to me?
I like that. That's cool.
I am with you.
Ooh, this chorus.
Got my back and you know I got you. So come up, come up, come up. Let's get physical.
Come to think of it, this chorus sounds familiar. This might have been played in one of my workout classes at some point.
Come up,
How couldn't it be with that chorus?
let's get physical. Living it up. Who needs to go to sleep when I got you next to me? All night, I ride with you. I know you got my back and you know I got you. So come up, let's get physical. Lights,
This chorus is catchy as hell.
let's get physical. Hold up,
Ooh, I like when they kick it up a notch like that.
hold up. Just a little time. Come on, hold up. Tell me if you're ready. Come on, baby, keep on dancing. Let's get physical. I know you got my back and you know I got you. So come on.
I mean, music is art, obviously, but I feel like there's also a real science to writing a good pop song. Like, it's art and it's science, because just knowing when to do that amp up of like, okay, we have this many choruses, and you know, every time we come back and we ease back into a verse that's like more stripped down, it's still up tempo, it still has that up tempo beat, but the instrumentation is like, you know, a little more sparse and stripped down to make more room for the verse, you know, because we want that chorus to really hit, so we have to minimalize and strip down the verse so we can actually build up to that big hit. But after like a certain amount of choruses, they're like, okay, instead of amping back down to the verse, we're gonna just hit them extra hard and just like kick it up to 11, and you know, just bring in all the synthesizers, and you know, have her voice dubbed over, and I just have the whole thing get even bigger. And you know, it's like just knowing when to hit that speed. You know, it's like you could ask 100 different people to try to write this song. Say, you know, get 100 people in a room and say, okay, we're gonna write a song, it's gonna be called Physical, it's gonna be a dance pop song, go. And you know, not everybody would come up with something that hit every beat just right like this song did. You know, so it's just like, I want to know what separates those songwriters who make this happen versus the one, you know, there's plenty of like just okay pop songs and, you know, mediocre pop songs, and there's songs that, you know, might have good vocals or a good beat, but the songwriting itself, where it's just like knowing when to accelerate versus when to slow down, and just when to just go for it. And you know, just that's what really compels me about pop music. You know, that's an interesting sample / sound effect.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I could
Okay, nice little mid-tempo number.
I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. You want me, I want you, baby.
Oh, that's a nice change up.
I'm levitating, the Milky Way.
This is a Sugar Boo. I'd not heard that one before.
Got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you.
I'm guessing this is where Moonlight Edition came from.
Dance with me, I'm levitating. You, moonlight,
I like sneaking in that line just at the last second there. I'm levitating.
all night. Come on, dance with me, I'm levitating. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you.
Yeah, this is also reminiscent of a lot of that mid-90s R&B.
You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket watching blast off, and I'm feeling so electric, that's my ass off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop.
Yeah, that bass line is so disco too. I'm glad that we're like a generation separated from the people who grew up hating disco, because there's a lot of good stuff in disco, from musical techniques to production techniques to just songwriting, that I'm glad this new generation is totally unafraid to borrow from it.
I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you.
Okay, you know what? I'll be honest. When this song first started, I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I wasn't super feeling it. But it's won me over. That chorus. Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle, I think I lied a little. I hate it when you leave me unattended, 'cause I miss you.
I love-
and I need your
I hate it when you leave me
love.
unattended.
Anymore, could you help me slow it down? Boom.
I feel like the only time I've ever heard the word unattended is in the context of like a car that's parked in the wrong spot.
Please, I need your hands on me, exactly where I want me. Yeah, underneath your body. Yeah.
This track is like surprisingly yet pleasantly minimalistic in its instrumentation.
I know that I seem a little stressed out, but you're here now and you're turning me on. I wanna feel a different kind of tension. Yeah, you guessed it, the kind that's fine.
Yeah, this song has a much more mellow vibe to it.
Oh, you look so pretty, please. Every single
that's-
night.
I see what you did there.
Your hands,
You look so pretty, please.
when my mind is running wild, could you help me slow it down? Put my mind at ease. Trickle down.
I like that vocal performance just there. I like it when you can like, and it's a sign of a good vocal performance where like you can almost feel where they are on the mic when they're singing it. There's just this real breathy quality, like she was right up on that mic, just whispering into it almost.
I
This has like a real, like, you know that song? Baby, I'm ready to go. You know that song? That era of music, that was like late 90s, I'm guessing. That's what this is evoking. Yeah, this was like that whole era. This is a vibe. Republica. I just had to look it up real quick just to give them credit. Republica, Ready to Go from 1996. This is like in that vein.
Yeah, you're my one, my favorite, my ride or die. Yeah, I'ma love you like a fool, breathe you until I lose.
Still has that disco / Eurodance touch to it though. This is like hybrid on top of hybrid. Fusion on top of fusion.
I hallucinate when you call my name.
Woo, I'm digging this one. Yeah, this would also like, you know, make a playlist with, you know, that song Ready to Go, put some garbage on there, like version 2.0 era garbage, even some low fidelity all-stars. Like that whole like sort of mid-90s, you know, whatever was going on in Great Britain around that time.
Kill me slowly with your kiss, wrap me around your fingertips. Make me lose my mind. Hallucinate when you call my name.
I really dig this song, but I would also be curious to hear a version of the song that was sort of like a trance or like deep house remix of the song, because you can hear the elements of that in this. It's just that her voice is just so powerful and so commanding of a room. She just elevates it to just a straight up pop song. But man, I would really love to hear just like I said, like a deep house or even a trance version of that song. Some nice strings there. Sort of a melancholy vibe. Oh shit. That sounds very familiar. I think I know the sample. This album is really bringing the bass lines. Yeah, this sample, that is... There was a song in the like late 90s. Again, what is the name of that song? I'm gonna have to look it up.
So many nights my tears fell harder than rain.
Yeah, these disco influenced bass lines, they're just really the MVP of this album so far. Maybe the unsung hero.
Show me the heavens right here, baby. Touch me so I know I'm not crazy.
Okay, I just looked it up. The song is called Your Woman, and the band was Whitetown. Is that 97?
You got me in love.
I totally forgot about that song, but this sample is iconic.
I can't believe I'm not afraid anymore. Goddamn, you got me in love.
I'm also really liking all the strings on this album. Like that. Just like some violin, like... I feel like Eurodance proved that violin can be just as funky and cool as any other instrument.
You got me in love again. You got me in love.
This is the second song on this album where I'm like, this would make a great closer. Like there's just this energy to it of like sort of like a wrapping up or like bringing it all home, you know? Especially now, this sort of descent with these strings. Yeah, that would have been a perfect closer.
I've always been the one to say the first goodbye.
It's funny she said she's always the first to say goodbye. And I was just commenting on how 2 of these tracks have already felt like closing tracks. There's definitely a saying goodbye quality.
I hope I'm not the only one that feels it all. Center of attention, you know you can.
That change-up came out of nowhere,
you want from me.
but I like it.
Whenever you want it, baby. I would have stayed at home. 'Cause I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I knew that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home.
That was nice. That was smooth.
Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart?
You know, I was saying that I just basically didn't listen to pop music for like a good 10 years, maybe 10 years plus. You know, I missed the whole Lady Gaga era. Just was not listening to pop music at all during that time. But I've heard a little bit of her music. And just from what little I know of Lady Gaga's music, I feel like Dua Lipa has a very similar voice to her. Do people make that comparison? You know, who are some other pop singers that Dua Lipa gets compared to? Both vocally and just the music overall in general.
You know you can get whatever you want from me, whenever you want it, baby.
Yeah, they just both have that really sort of deep, rich singing voice.
You to me, if I would've known it, baby.
It's a lot of power there.
But when you said hello, I knew that was the end of it all. I should've stayed home, 'cause now there ain't no letting you go.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. What song is that?
Oh
Dun, 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 dun. God, what song is that?
no, I knew that was the end of it all. Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? I would've stayed at home, 'cause
Dun, 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 dun.
'cause now there ain't no letting you go. Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart?
See if this works. What song goes dun 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 dun? It's not I'm gonna be. It's trying to tell me that it's I'm gonna be 500 miles by the Proclaimers, but it is not that song. I'm gonna be. It is not that song. All right, I can't find it, but somebody let me know in the comment section. You know what song I'm talking about, right? It's like a guitar part that's doing that. Dun 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 dun. Man, what song is that? I can't even remember a lyric that I could at least Google to find out. Oh, don't you hate when that happens? All right, anyway, somebody let me know in the comments. Keeping it going, we've got track 10, Good in Bed. Who doesn't want to be that? This instrumental is not what I would have assumed would go with the title Good in Bed.
Yeah, let's get to the point here.
It's like the most whimsical, almost like 90s / early 2000s hip hop.
I know it's really bad, messing with my head. We drive each other mad.
I just instinctively felt that change up coming. Again, it's just that science of good pop songwriting. Ooh, did not see that coming though.
I dedicate this verse to all that good pipe in the moonlight and the long night. So we did everything but talk it through. That's what we do.
Get it? It's funny thinking about like different eras of pop music, back when people had to like use a lot more innuendo and sort of metaphor to describe things that you can just straight up just say now. You can just say exactly what you want to say, and that's not a judgment at all. It's a really fun contrast.
We drive each other mad. But baby, that's what makes us good in bed.
You know, it's a pretty clever decision though. Lyrically, this song, you know, could potentially like.
We know how to fuck. I know it's really bad.
She laughed too. That's what's so clever about this song is that I think lyrically they realized, oh, this song could potentially like put some people off because of how just straightforward it is. So let's put it over some instrumental music that's just kind of whimsical and fun and playful, just to let people know. It's kind of tipping their hand that like she means what she's saying, but she's not taking herself too seriously when she's saying it. You know what I mean? And this instrumental really backs that up. Yeah, that was brilliant. Loved
It's
it.
second nature to walk home before the sun goes down. Isn't it funny how we laugh it off to hide our fear when there's nothing funny here?
Here we go.
We hide our figures doing anything to shut their mouths. We smile away to ease the tension so it don't go south. But there's nothing funny now. Oh, and they do what they see 'cause it's all on TV. Oh, the kids ain't alright. Boys will be, boys will be, boys will be, boys will be boys.
I'm glad this is the direction of this song because I wasn't sure based on that title what this was going to be. But yeah, I think that phrase is basically just sort of dead at this point. Like anybody who's saying that phrase anything but like unironically or mockingly, like I just don't know what to tell you.
Got man around to save the day, and that was sarcasm in case you needed it mansplained. I should have stuck to ballet. If you're offended by this song,
Nice.
If you're offended
Co-signed.
by this song, then you're probably saying
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Is like,
but girls will be women.
if you're still using this phrase seriously, sincerely, then like you got to re-examine the way you look at the world. So I think that was the closing track on the original version of this album, and yeah, that was a strong closing track too. Yeah, I like ending on that message, because that's the thing about like pop music. I feel like a lot of people who misunderstand pop music or its purpose, they just feel like they use it as a way to judge women for being women, you know? It's like how she was saying that like women have to hide their figures and that they have to like, just basically all the ways that women have to adapt to live in this world, to, just that they're not just free to just be themselves at all times, that there's always some sort of pressure or negativity. So props to Dua Lipa for writing a whole song about it, using her platform to get that message out there and closing her album with it, But that is not the closing of this album reaction, because this is not the standard edition of Future Nostalgia. This is the Moonlight Edition. And so, yeah, there's still another 8 tracks. We're like, really honestly, just a little over halfway of this version of the album. So, yeah, we are now at track 12, which is called Fever.
Before you came around,
That was just some funny clapping.
I've got a fever, so can you check?
And the only cure is more cowbell.
And when you touch me, baby, I turn red.
Peut-être qu'avec du temps, ça partira. Et pourtant, je ne m'y vois pas.
Is this French?
Et je sais que je perds de temps en temps.
Yeah. You just say.
Le plus souvent, c'est quand je pense à toi.
I've got a fever.
I know a little bit of French. Like I pick up words here and there. Like she says souvent, which means often. I need to work on my French though. I'm a big fan of French New Wave film, so it'd just be cool to be able to watch those films without the subtitles.
Tell me what you wanna do right now. Tell me what you wanna do right now. Tell me what you wanna do right now. 'Cause I
I really like the vibe of this though. It's like mellow. Yeah, was it? I think might have been Levitating. There's another song that had this sort of melancholy yet up-tempo vibe to it. It's a vibe that I really I think I'm on that wavelength. Just like, I like up-tempo, but I also just like melancholy.
can't take the silence.
Is this sampling Oye Como Va?
I think it's
That sounds like a slowed down, processed sample of that.
time I wave goodbye from the window. Let's end this
Let's see where this chorus goes. I feel like that'll...
way we good. When I'm meant to be like sleeping and cocaine.
No. What is this?
So let's at least agree to
It is not Oye Como Va, but it's something I recognize.
pretend like we shouldn't say we're good. No need to hide it.
I'm really digging this though.
I think it's pretty.
This already might be one of my favorite songs of the album. See, I'm already glad that I'm reacting to the Moonlight Edition.
When I'm meant to be like sleeping and cocaine.
This also has like a early 90s all rock vibe to it.
Blocking the judge, you in your ear, somebody else.
Man, how did they keep this off the original album?
Pretend like we shouldn't say we're good.
Yeah, that was dope. I really like that a lot.
Prisoner, locked up, can't get you off my mind, off my mind. Lord knows I tried a million times.
Strung out on a feeling, my hands are tied.
I like when you just have like a good robot vocal come in.
You keep making it harder to stay, but I still can't run away.
Oh yeah, that's Miley Cyrus, right? It says here she's on this.
Can't you just let me
Yeah, she has one of those unmistakable voices. Even though I missed a lot of pop music from that era, Wrecking Ball is an all-timer for me.
I can forget you and your love is the loudest. Oh, I can't control it, I can't control.
Oh yeah, that voice is so fierce.
You keep making it harder to stay, but
I like this little slowdown. Feels like I'm going in slow motion.
why can't you just let me go? Prisoner, prisoner.
By the way, if you've never watched the movie The Night Before, it's probably my favorite Christmas movie. Miley Cyrus has a really fun cameo near the end of that movie.
I wanna know why can't you? I wanna know why
That's a nice little change up there.
can't you? I gotta know why can't you just let me go?
Very nice.
This connection got me feeling like I've known you my whole life. Wow. So baby, don't you let go. The thought of you with someone kills me. If it ain't me, and baby, if you ever
Yeah, see, this is a solid song, but I could see why it wasn't on the original album. It has more of like a B-side energy to it. Like, there's a lot of elements in this song that we've heard on a lot of songs already on the main album, so I don't feel like we're missing anything. That chorus hits pretty nice though, not gonna lie.
I'll be dancing with my heart broke. Such a fan disco. If it ain't
Did she say such a fan of disco? I can tell, girl, you don't need to say it. It's all over your music.
find another lover, you'll see. I'll be dancing with my heart broke. Such a sad disco.
Oh, such a sad disco, that's what she said. Okay, my bad. That Kind of Woman, track 16.
Cause it's 100 of the speaking. I've been trying to make a stamp. 100 of the speaking. I can make you understand. There's only one out here for you. I'll be the first to say, baby, what's your
That was a nice drop.
There's only one out here for you. One out here for you. I'll be the first to say, baby, what's your name? 'Cause I want you.
This song is definitely one of the more just straight up 80s influenced. You know, because you hear some, like, obviously some 70s disco on a lot of these tracks and some 90s for sure. But this song is like, sounds like the most purely 80s song so far on this album.
We doing good.
That's an intense synthesizer.
That's your problem.
Pulling me down like an anchor, saying it's my fault, your anger, telling me no one will love me.
Watch your mouth. What the fuck?
Now it's my turn to bite back.
That's your problem.
Not my problem, not my problem. Call it what you want, but you're not my problem.
I will say the one level on which I don't relate to pop music is how so much of it is about relationship problems. And here's just me sitting here happily married and like, I mean, every relationship has its issues, but like the stuff that people sing about sometimes, it's even like in movies, like when people have these blow up arguments in movies, like when people are driving in a car and like somebody tries to tell somebody, get out of the car. If your relationship ever gets to that level, I'm sorry, that relationship is dead. Like that is, anybody who you love and respect and like care about, like you would never get to that level of like verbal abuse, you know what I mean? And not every relationship is meant to work out, but it's just like you got to know when you get to a certain level of argument that that relationship is done, like move on.
Not my problem, not my problem. Call it what you want, but you're not my problem. Crying all the time.
It's a fun song though, I gotta admit.
If you got issues,
That's your problem.
Especially that, I don't know if was that her saying that, but whoever's saying, that's not my problem. That's a fun little touch to that song.
I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop.
Okay, so we're back to Levitating, but this time with a feature, DaBaby. I don't think I've ever heard anything from DaBaby. I've heard the name, but I do not know what he sounds like.
I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me.
I mean, it's the Moonlight Edition. You gotta have this song on here twice.
I'm one of the greatest, ain't no debating on it. I'm still levitated, I'm heavily medicated. Ironic, I gave them love and they end up hating on me. You see what you got me out here doing? Might have threw me off, but can't nobody stop the movement. So catch up, go put some cheese on it, get out and get your bread up. They always leaving you far, but you run together. Weight of the world on my shoulders, I kept my head up. Now baby, stand up.
Okay, I didn't know what to expect. You know, you see the name DaBaby. I don't know how seriously to take that, but he had a flow, he had good rhymes, he had bars. I got no complaints. All right, last track, Un Día, One Day. Don't recognize the names on the feature. Well, I think I've seen the name Bad Bunny before, but couldn't tell you what their music sounds like. En español. Okay, a little bit of reggaeton.
One day you'll love me again. One day you'll love me for sure.
Yo soy pa' ti y tú eres pa' mí.
Tú eres pa' mí.
Yo sé que estoy en tu corazón, quizás en el fondo. Otra baby me escribe, nunca le respondo.
You know, reggaeton is a genre that I never listen to it just on my own at home. But if it's on out somewhere, especially like in a club or bar environment, I don't mind it. It's just not what I like seek out in my own personal time, you know? But there's something even at this point that already feels nostalgic about it.
One day you'll love me for sure. One day you'll wake up feeling how I've been feeling, baby. You'll knock at my door. One day you'll realize I'm more than your lover. I'm more than your love, I'm your friend.
Okay. All right, so having gone into this album with Don't Start Now being the only Dua Lipa track that I've ever heard before, this was a really cool listening experience because there were a lot of the elements that I like from Don't Start Now sort of in the DNA of this album. It gave me a lot of what I like about this song throughout this album. So that was really satisfying because, you know, there's times where, and this is very common, where the lead single or the hit single off an album, you know, you listen to it, you love it, you buy the album, and then the rest of the album sounds nothing like it. Like, you feel almost deceived. You're like, but this song is amazing, and then the rest of the album doesn't sound like this. Like, you know, it's like, so I'm thankful that that wasn't the case here. But if I'm being honest, the thing that I actually liked most about this album is not that it just gave me more of what I like, but that it actually gave me some surprises, and there was some like twists and turns, little refreshing elements that I would not have expected that I'm glad they threw in there. So it kept things really interesting and exciting. And so for me, the songs that I ended up loving the most on this album were not the ones that sounded like Don't Start Now, because that song is just an all-timer for me at this point. You know, it's S tier, you know, so it's like, you know, you're not going to reach the heights of that song by just trying to replicate that song. So I really admired that there are songs that are just totally a different vibe. And so yeah, for me, my other favorite songs besides Don't Start Now, it's Hallucinate. I really enjoyed that was just a straight up house track. You know, I like I was saying during that song, I would really want to hear just like an extended, more like progressive house or trance remix of that song, because it had those elements there, you know, but it still had the pop elements to keep the pop fans happy too. And then there was Love Again, which just out of nowhere had this sample from the song Your Woman by Whitetown from the 90s. That song, I remember that song just being such an earworm of a song. It was really cool to hear that sample in just a totally different context. But that was a fun surprise. And yeah, I can't wrap this up without talking about the song Physical. That song Physical, that was just the tour de force. That was like the power song of the album. You know, that's the, you know, what's that expression? A bull in a china shop, I believe it's called. Just basically that song comes in and just wrecks everything, you know, but in a good way. It's just, that's the, you know, that's that song. I can see myself just using that song to get myself really amped up when I need an energy boost, you know. And like I said, what I loved about the album is just how musically diverse it was. It gave me a lot of what I was expecting, but then also just threw in some curveballs that I was not expecting. And that just kept the whole experience really fresh for me. So what are your favorite tracks on this album? I'd really like to know. Let me know in the comments section. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And be sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to follow along with more of my album reactions. Thanks for watching this video. My name's AJ. See you next time. Have a good day.